Students of color in a classroom with you?
No, very important. I feel like, especially at a school like Bush, I mean, we're already so sort of single-minded in our ideology that if we go one step further and we're single-minded in our backgrounds too, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of, I don't know, a school environment in a school with a purpose like Bush's.
How important is it for you to have students of color in a class with you?
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't really care, to be honest. I'll do me.
Do you notice when there are other students of color present in the classroom?
A little bit, but not really. I usually just focus on the teacher and learning because that's what we're here for.
Like, I mean, I notice who everyone is, right? In that sense I notice, but I don't like walk in and be like, look at the demographics of the class sort of thing, right?
No.
Do I notice? Yeah. Because this is such a white-ass school.
Hi, my name's Shyanne.
And my name is Najma.
And in the previous footage, you have just seen what some of the students, our fellow peers, think about diversity on the school. And in the following footages, you're going to see some of the experiences of what students of color have went through being a student at Bush.
We aren't trying to generalize or anything. We know not every student of color has this experience being at a private school, but this video is intended for just others to see like the perspective of the students who do have that experience. Yeah. Dude, guess what? Oh my god.
Gosh, what's wrong?
Dude, I have a quiz today, and I went to bed like at 2 a.m. last night. I got home hella late from work, and now I'm just freaking out. I honestly think I'm gonna fail.
Well, then why don't you just quit your job or something?
I can't quit my job though, that's the thing. I got the job mostly just so I could help my family with bills, you know? So, like, quitting isn't really an option for me, but I'm so stressed out with school and work, and bro, I also don't have a social life right now, low-key. Like, it's all getting to me. I don't know.
Hey Mom, I'm back.
How was basketball practice?
Yeah, it was good, but I have so much homework right now, so I'll talk to you later, Ma.
Hey, Shy. Dude, you've been quiet lately. Are you okay?
No, like, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna be able to pass this quiz. Like, I've been trying to study this whole week, but my brothers have been fighting, and my mom's under so much stress lately with bills and everything that they're starting to not even listen to her. They're out of control, and our house is so small, and like, it's so loud everywhere that I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't think I can pass this.
I mean, I understand you, fam, but like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's also Bush. Like, the homework load here, like you already know, like they have high expectations here, so you just got to keep going. Like you finish out the year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shyanne! Do you want to go out to lunch?
Oh, actually, I can't, bro. I actually don't have any money to do that right now. So, yeah.
I have to start speaking up more. I mean, my midterm comment said that Cheyenne's so shy and that she doesn't participate. And I'm not trying to get this F in the class, so I gotta go for it. I mean, it's not like I didn't read the book or anything. I do realize how one of the many symbols in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein portrays the complexities of human nature and society, that there is an inherent innocence in even the worst of beings, or how Christopher McCandless in Into the Wild was a dumbass who had no business trying to survive in the Alaskan wilderness, and how both statements of what I just said are completely subject to interpretation. But do you not realize how awkward it is trying to speak up in a class when you're the only one that looks like yourself, whose ability to speak is basically condemned before anything can ever be said because the physical makeup of the class exhibits a barrier in which I must utilize my developing bravery to overcome? I feel like a grape in a jar full of mayonnaise, out of place. Do they not realize how strange it is for me to be here? Should I even be here? I look around and I only see white students. I'm not sure if anything I say or do might induce a reaction or uproar that I'm not ready to back up alone. This is such a strange situation to be in. But at the same time, who really cares about what they think? Shyanne, you're here to get an education. Might as well share your opinion and learn from it. Oh, I think class is almost over now, though. Okay. Well, I'll share my 2 cents tomorrow, then.
The following scene consists of students of color at Bush reflecting on their personal experiences here.
When they walk on the street, they're not going to be discriminated against. But when we walk out on the street and people look at us, that's where the discrimination happens because it's your appearance. You look like everybody else. You don't get isolated because you look different. You don't get isolated because you speak a different language. You don't get isolated because of all these other factors that are like not only like it's institutionalized because this teacher is allowing this crap to happen. And like so to them, America ends up not being the ideal, actually, and just being, a really fake place. Because it is. They call it the melting pot, and it actually is a melting pot because they want you to be the same. And anytime that you're different, they're like, oh, you're trying to be different? Oh, you think you're special now? Like, oh, wow, like, actually, we do this, and we're different now, too. And all this, like... That's why they're like, oh, we think it's a salad bowl now. It's not a salad bowl. They still want everybody to be homogenous. At the school, everybody needs to be homogenous. If you're different any sort of way, like when there was one teacher, she told me to speak English in one of my classes. I was talking to Kevin in Spanish, and she was like, can you please speak English? And
I came to Bush because at the time when I was applying to private schools and stuff, the only thing I cared about was to be, challenged academically and to be at the best school and try and achieve as much as possible.
My parents wanted to get me a better education compared to my old school, which is a Christian school. So the classes weren't as rigorous, so I came here.
Well, I came to Bush in 7th grade. I'd gone to public school before that, and then when I was given the opportunity to come to Bush, I immediately jumped on it because private schools, there's a stigma, not stigma, but this connotation with private schools that you'll get the better education, you'll get the better opportunities, you'll have you'll leave with a better name for colleges. So that's ultimately why I did it, and Bush has all of that. They have better academics, they have better opportunities. When I applied to college, just having that name Bush on your transcript makes a huge difference when comparing it to these big public high schools that are underfunded and don't have all the resources that Bush has.
I came to Bush solely for the educational opportunities I thought would be provided here, and I think that's sort of came to light as as I've progressed throughout my high school career here. I think that the Bush School obviously has a lot to offer in terms of extracurriculars, just outside school opportunities, and just in general like the values it holds. But yeah.
Have you ever regretted coming to Bush?
Yeah, multiple times, usually around the winter term, when there's like no sun and it feels like there's like, I don't know, just like overarching sadness around campus, particularly with reference to, not being connected to my identity. I'm already multiracial, so I already feel a disconnect from my culture in multiple ways. But additionally, being around people who don't reflect me or my family every day, sometimes I wondered if that was like the right decision for me, as far as my personal growth. Because at the same time as coming to Bush, I also had the option to go to Kamehameha, which is a school in Hawaii that is full of people who look like me and are affiliated with the same cultural values and ideas. And I'm not sure if that would have made me a better person, but I know that at Bush I've cultivated like the ability to communicate across multiple cultural lines, and I think that is something that I use every day, and without that skill I wouldn't. It's interesting that you asked me a question about if I regretted it, and I immediately became defensive and started explaining why I'm happy I'm here. I don't know, perhaps I'm insecure about my decision.
Yes, I have regretted going to Bush, but only because there aren't that many people that were like me when I was younger, and I didn't really have that many friends. And in high school, like, everyone just started being the same, and like the teachers were kind of not the same, but like, I don't know, I didn't really connect with anybody.
Why do you regret?
Because of the diversity, I sometimes don't feel accepted and I feel alone, but I feel like it's only made me stronger, and like having different groups like Blazers of Color and SAC, like we've really created a community within Bush for each other, so that's good.
How important is this started, even though there was backlash against it all?
I think it was good to have even the backlash itself. I think it was good to have a productive conversation about why it's necessary to have affinity groups on campus, especially for students of color. I think we see that we have groups like Saga, where there's places to talk about LGBTQ issues, but we didn't have one specifically for students of color, and I think it's great that we were able to have a productive conversation, and it was good practice to even articulate the reasons for having an affinity group as well. So even if there was backlash, I still think that regardless, the process itself of being able to construct and organize students of color on campus, and to also build a group like this, I think it was absolutely
also
necessary.
More personally, I found that hearing some of my peers say things that I thought that they wouldn't say because they were friends with me, about a space that wasn't for them, that had nothing to do with them, that was a very eye-opening experience for me, because I am constantly in denial of the privileges that my friends have, because I want to believe that relationships and friendships transcend all of these systemic issues, and I usually give my white friends the benefit of the doubt, but when push comes to shove and we actually have to talk about my identity, more times than not, they expose their privileges, so that was a really eye-opening experience for me.
How important is it for you to have students of color as well as faculty of color present on campus with you?
Every time I see another student of color, and you can clearly notice when there's more students of color on campus at a school like Bush, I get happy. I'm proud that there's more of us on campus every day, every year. It just shows that the tides are turning, and that this kind of excellent education is becoming more accessible to students like us. And Bush in the recent years have gotten more faculty of color, which is also great, because there's more of a connection that there hasn't been before, with students of color and then teachers of color. I feel like there's a better connection and understanding there than with white teachers. So I think it's very great, and I think over the years, hopefully, Bush will incorporate more students of color and more faculty of color.
I think that's very important, but I also feel like they also need to be like there also needs to be intercultural fluency, because you can't just have people of color but they don't know what's like actually
There's
happening.
a relationship with people who identify with the same experience as you that couldn't be had with others, and that isn't to say that like anything about like white faculty or white students of color, like it's just something that they could never understand. And I feel like there's this part of me that's constantly being suppressed, and that I constantly am not able to vocalize because it's not relevant to the culture that I'm in. But it's still relevant for me. And so finding different outlets and different people that I can communicate that to is very difficult. And having faculty of color and students of color around who could understand that and who could communicate with me, even if they don't agree, but just having someone that could, you know, have some context for what my narrative, like that would be really impactful for me, especially when I was younger growing up.
As well as other students of color on campus. It's really important because if you see in like the media a lot of times and stuff like that, I would never see like an image of myself like when I look places. So like teachers or like media or just students in general, like I don't see people who look like me, and that kind of is like, I don't know, it doesn't really validate my race, I guess.
Does the lack of diversity on the school ever make you feel uncomfortable?
Kind of, because I know that people don't get like where I'm coming from a lot of issues and like the struggles that I've had to go through, and like I feel like I have to work a lot harder to be respected like as a girl of color at the school than other people will have to.
Have you ever seen socioeconomic status as an issue within the school?
I think it is a bigger issue than we originally think it is. It's kind of subliminal, I guess. You don't really see it going out, like you don't actively see it, but once you're in like a friend group, I guess it is a huge deal sometimes.
How has your economic status affected you being at Bush?
I mean, it's kind of been like hard, like it's kind of been like more pointed out about how poor I am because I'm at such a wealthy school. So, I mean, that's kind of tough. And then also like all my friends have like way more money than me. So like when we go out to do things, I'll just like say I can't unless they pay for me because I can't pay for it. So.
I mean, it's obviously really out there at Bush. You know that there's a lot of students with a lot of money that are very wealthy that come from a very privileged place. So for me, at least, I kind of got used to seeing that, but definitely hearing these stories of kids that were able to go on these vacations or like on these summer programs that are expensive and that other students aren't able to do just because of the price. It's very disheartening at times, but it's not overwhelmingly terrible, you know? Like Bush offers like financial aid, and they offer all these other things that equal to the really expensive stuff, but on a smaller scale for students who aren't able to afford that. But it's definitely something you see here every day. You see the wealthy, and then you see those that are not as wealthy but are still making it.
Some people will just like have so many opportunities to do things. Like, hey, I went to Paris last weekend or something, and some others like won't have that opportunity. And like that's very like shallow, like more of like they have more opportunities to do things, and some need like scholarship in order to like just live.
In the past few interviews, you saw some of the struggles students of color have faced being at Bush. In the end, it was well worth it as we go off to new phases in our life. My name is Najma Mohamed, and I am a part of Bush's 2016 graduating class, and I will be heading to University of Washington next year.
My name is Layla, and I'm part of the graduating class of 2019.
My name is Elvin Udas, and I'm part of Bush's graduating class of 2018.
My name is Brady Huang, and I will be part of Bush's 2017 graduating class.
My name is Shyanne Yellowbird, and I'll be part of Bush's graduating class of 2017.
My name is Brandon Ford, and I'm part of the graduating class 2016, and I'll be attending St. John's University.
Hi, my name is Yamina Kataria, and I'm part of Bush's graduating class of 2016, and I'll be attending Northeastern next year.
My name is Kevin Martinez. I'm part of Bush's graduating class of 2016, and I will be attending the University of Rochester.
My name is Shyanne Yellowbird, and I will be a part of Bush's graduating class of 2016, and I will be attending Columbia University next year.
As you have witnessed, there is a fabric of obstacles that face every student attending Bush. However, being a student of color also comes with the added hindrance of sacrifice. Sacrifice in identity development, or the lack of visual stepping stones that guide and reassure our growth as young adults. Sacrifice in that every day spent on campus comes with the compromise of our own character that we must utilize in order to navigate our way through the school. More often than not, we get caught up in this draining ideology that we must prove not only to ourselves but to our community that not only are we here, but that we deserve to be here. Going to the Bush School is the first gauntlet of our lives, where many students of color lack the security of a physically and psychologically comforting community. We will be lonely, confused, and challenged in a way that most of our peers will not understand. But to persevere through an environment like Bush's will only prepare us for the future. So no matter what, we stay focused. We push past the compromises of our disadvantages and keep in mind the bigger picture. You never know. You just might be surprised where your courage takes you.